Welcome to Atheon Analytics and the presentation given at this year's Visual Analytics Consortium conference in Washington. So the theme of the discussion was Visual Analytics in Practice, and this presentation covers the Atheon Analytics experience of just that. So the theme was tackling the two tough problems in retail and consumer goods. First of all, let's consider some of the challenges that this domain faces. So for retail and consumer packaged goods companies, what is it that are the challenges they have to deal with analytically day to day? Well, the volume of data involved in any retail or CPG business is huge. If you consider every item in every basket going through every till in every store every day, you can see that you're dealing with billions of data points accumulated every day and every week. The second issue that most retailers and CPGs face is data quality. For example, despite 40 years of barcodes, it seems that we still struggle to match products effectively. So when we're dealing with products, we need to know whether those products are in fact the same and should be matched together. And despite 40 years of barcodes, we still find problems with products where we can't simply tell whether they are in fact the same. Why is that a problem? Because when you're a CPG in particular, you need to blend together data from a myriad of sources, not only your own internal data sets, but a world of data that comes in from the market and from your customers. Managing those different data sources and linking them all together becomes a real challenge. Alongside the volume of data and the challenges in matching those different data sets, we have the kind of analytical questions that retailers and CPGs are looking at. What's the best price I can charge for my products in order to generate the best profit? Clearly, the more I charge, the fewer people are going to buy that product. But there's some optimal point at which I can get the most margin from the widest possible audience. When I promote products, what's the effect of that promotion on the product itself, on other products that sit on the shelf alongside it, and on competitor products? How loyal are my customers? How do they respond to changes in the offer that I provide, be it the product itself, the packaging of that product, the price, etc. So these are complex, multifaceted problems that retail and CPG companies need to address. So we have huge volumes of data coming in from a world of different sources, all at different frequencies with a range of different qualities. With all that, it's a wonder that any analysis gets done at all. So the way that we address the problem is to consider three key factors, three key principles, if you like, in all the work that we do, the techniques that we've developed and the tools that we use with our clients. Firstly, we make all the information that we get access to visual, and that's not just about taking a whole lot of numbers and at the end of some analysis producing a graphic that people can understand. It's turning the process on its head and making the analysis itself visual. So taking numbers, turning them into pictures, and then analysing through the pictures rather than the numbers. This enables analytical professionals to address the problem rather than professional analysts, and that's a big difference. Secondly, we make all of the information that we produce interactive. That means not just allowing people to change the type of graph that they see, but actually to interact with that graph, manipulate it and explore data, often using several different graphics at the same time, pretty much as you think of a question. So the closer we can get to true real-time interaction between the thought you have and the response you get from the system, the closer you get to the data and to the understanding behind it. So firstly, we make the data visual. Secondly, we make it interactive. And thirdly, we don't just consider single sources of data. Most of our clients need to blend data from a myriad of different sources, be it their customers, their suppliers, their internal systems, and even when it comes to internal systems, the corporate head office systems and the departmental spreadsheets that pervade every business. So the third principle we work to is that of data blending, being able to mix data sets from different sources and use the resultant combined data set in all of our analysis, and that means that we can enrich, improve and better understand business performance through bringing in related information. And we do that in order to tell a compelling story, because ultimately the value of any analysis is the story that can be told from it and the action that can be taken from that story. By making all of our work visual and interactive, we can present a story to a decision-making audience who can ask questions, explore the information that we've provided and understand it in order to take action. And we'd like to highlight that by looking at experiences working with Colgate, which we believe makes for a compelling story in its own right. So a little bit of background about Colgate. You probably know Colgate from its oral hygiene products, but there's also the Palmolive company that provides a range of personal hygiene products as well. And Colgate Palmolive in the UK deals with all the major grocery and healthcare retailers that you would imagine, dealing with all those different data sets and addressing a range of different priorities within the business. We work with them to help them to grow market share, optimize the stock that they carry within their business and present to their retail clients, manage the relationships with those retailers, maximize the return they make on their promotions, and ultimately meet the consumer expectations that they have set in order to improve their profitability and drive the maximum value through to their shareholders. And we've worked with Colgate in the UK for the past 4 years and have helped to drive visual analytics as a key principle in their business operation here in the UK. A few examples of that to illustrate the kind of work that they now tackle on using visual analytics, blending data from multiple sources, presenting information visually and interacting with that information. First of all, the most obvious area for any business is to understand its sales, and Colgate certainly does that across all of its major retail customers. So simply being able to take every single product, present that visually on screen. Here we see sales presented as a line over time. You'll notice that some of the points are presented in red, some in green, and this in this case highlights differences between acceptable and unacceptable margin and allows end users to focus on the effect of promotional behaviour. It tends to drive volume, but it depletes margin, and this allows improved decisions over the extent of promotion that should go on with the retailers. In order to maximise sales through to consumers, it's important to have the right product on the shelf in the right stores. When product isn't available on the shelf, it can't be bought by consumers, and we tend to find that those patterns relate to specific supply issues with regional distribution centres or transport hubs, and being able to take information and plot it geographically allows us to explore very easily where particular problem stores are, and often these are clustered around regional hubs. Colgate needs to manage its manufacturing processes to ensure that it manufactures the right amount of product during the year for its retail customers, and that's affected significantly by the kind of promotions that it runs. So one of the areas in which we've worked with Colgate is their supply chain and demand planning teams to help them to better understand the accuracy of their demand forecasts, matching top-down and bottom-up forecasts, looking for improvements in accuracy that allow them to get the right product to the retailer at the right time. Most retailers and CPGs will buy market data from the major market data providers, and Colgate uses this information to track its performance across a range of retail customers, both the majors and a large number of independents, and this allows them to understand the impact on competitors and own label products of promotions that they run with their retail clients. Another illustration here of multiple data sources, in this case being blended together to provide the professional division of Colgate with a better picture of how to influence dentists and pharmacies by making sure that field sales representatives visit the right stores at the right time. Plotting data geographically gives us the ability to understand the proximity of dentists and pharmacies and to ensure that field reps pick up on successes and repeat them across other stores within a geographic vicinity. Finally, the holy grail for an awful lot of retail and CPGs is to understand in as much detail as possible the return on investment gained from promotional activity. Most of these businesses, a significant percentage of sales is spent promoting product, and the ability to take every single promotion against every single product in every single retailer and to drive through to the impact of every promotion, many beneficial but some surprisingly poor performing, allows Colgate to better understand the kind of promotions that work with consumers and the impact of those promotions on its business. So how do Colgate and other clients like them benefit from the use of visual analytics techniques? Well, really there are three key advantages that visual analytics provides over any kind of alternative. The traditional reporting mechanisms that most businesses use, the kind of spreadsheet analysis that many organisations deploy, and even statistical analysis. There are three key advantages. Firstly, speed, both in terms of end users being able to pick up tools and techniques and use them rapidly, but also in terms of the productivity of those people using the tools and the techniques to get to an end answer. Visual analytics simply allows them to get there faster. Most importantly of all is the insight gained by looking at a problem from many different perspectives, from viewing it from every angle, from interacting with data, exploring it. You get a genuine understanding, and that understanding drives the right answer in the majority of cases. And finally, and not to be underestimated, is communication, and this operates really at a number of different levels. Firstly, the analyst or the analytical professional communicating with peers and senior managers internally, the ability to tell a story and evidence that story from information that the audience understands readily. Secondly, being able to use that information to drive change within the business. And thirdly, from sitting across the table with trading partners, customers, suppliers and other external parties, able to communicate the message to them effectively. And certainly in the case of retailers and CPGs here in the UK that we work with, we've seen many cases where business process changes because the traditional combat of sitting across a table with a 100-slide presentation and trying to batter the buyer into submission turns around and becomes a much more collaborative process where buyer and supplier look at the same information, explore it together and understand genuine opportunity and real threat. It's not all easy going though, and there are genuine challenges in making the visual analytics approach stick inside any business. If it was simple, surely every business would follow this same approach. The first challenge is culture. Certainly visual analytics and the approach we advocate works best in those businesses where there's a freedom of information, where analytical professionals are actively encouraged to solve their own problems, find their own solutions to challenges, and to take information and exploit it for the business's overall advantage. It's not going to work as well in very top-down businesses where IT holds the data and is the only custodian of that information and prevents the business from innovating with that information. The second factor is change. For a business to move from a traditional view of canned reporting over centrally held data to blending information from different sources and coming up with genuine insight does require significant change, and seeing that change through requires significant commitment. And it's that commitment that's the most challenging. In Colgate's case, the senior management team bought into the entire principle very early on after some initial piloting, and as a result have been able to drive the necessary change through, moving from a position of genuine interest to one of complete compulsion based on the results that they have achieved. So get it right across the organisation, and the big picture is revealed, making sense of all the data and all that detail captured. Thank you for taking the time to watch this presentation. Hopefully it's stirred a few ideas. If you'd like to contact us and find out more, please do. You can reach us by email at info@atheon.co.uk, by telephone +44 8444 145 501, or visit our website www.atheonanalytics.com.